Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The place is Kufa in Iraq. The year is 113 after Hijrah, and a boy has just been born into a poor family. No one expected it at the time, seeing that poor people at the time generally would busy themselves with earning money in order to survive. But this poor boy from a poor home would go on to become one of the greatest and most famous of ulama. His name was Yaqub ibn Ibrahim al-Ansari, but we know him better as Imaam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah, the most famous student of Imaam Abu Haneefah Rahimahullah. His full name was Yaqub ibn Ibrahim ibn Habib ibn Hubaysh ibn Sa'ad ibn Bujayr al-Ansari. He comes from a lineage of Muslims, as his great-great-grandfather Hazrat Sa'ad ibn Bujayr radiyallahu anhu was a Sahabi that had taken part in the Battle of Khandaq with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So it was from a noble lineage that a noble youngster was born, possessing from young days all the qualities of nobility. And this can be seen from the fact that as a young boy he began attending first the classes of Imam Ibn Abi Layla rahimahullah. And while studying by Imam Ibn Abi Layla, he noticed that when Imam Ibn Abi Layla needed help with an issue, he would go to Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah to have it solved. And this instilled within the heart of Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah the desire to also study by Imam Abu Haneefah. Eventually the time came and Imam Abu Yusuf's desire came to fruition, and he began studying by Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah. But it didn't carry on for too long until an unfortunate event occurred. Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah's father, Ibrahim, he was a poor man and he was struggling to make ends meet. So he told his son that he should try and find some means of earning money, because obviously as a student he wasn't able to earn anything that way. This greatly saddened Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, but he obeyed his father and he left off the classes. What followed next showed the greatness of Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, because Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah, who was an imam teaching more people than one can count, yet he noticed that Imam Abu Yusuf, this young boy, was no longer attending the class. This was a youngster, but he had such great potential that he made an impression on Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah. When Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah came to find out the financial situation of Imam Abu Yusuf and that this was the reason he was absent from the class, Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah gave Imam Abu Yusuf a small bag, not telling him what was inside. Only thing Imam Abu Haneefah said was that if it runs out, let me know. When Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah opened the bag, he found within it 100 dirhams, which was no small sum of money for a poor family. And so with this problem taken care of, Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah returned to the class of Imam Abu Haneefah. And before the 100 dirhams were spent, merely a few days later, Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah once again gave him another bag with another 100 dirhams. And in this manner, Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah sponsored Imam Abu Yusuf, which resulted in him spending the next 17 years studying under Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah, imbibing his knowledge on a scale incomparable with anyone else. Even after becoming a great alim of note in his own right, Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah continued for years to remain within the circle of Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah student, right up until the end. Madhahib only exist on account of its students, and if there are no students, then who would be there to transmit it to the next generation? That is why there were madhahib in the past that had existed but which had died out. But this did not happen to the madhab of Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah, because Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah became the first person to preserve and propagate the madhab of Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah, and he became the most knowledgeable person in the madhab of Imam Abu Haneefah. Some people mistakenly think that Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah was only an imam of fiqh, but this is untrue, because Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah was a shining star in every field. Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah was not only a faqih, he was also a muhaddith, a historian, and he was known as being the most knowledgeable person in the land with regards to the lineage of the Arabs. One of the famous kitabs of Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah is his kitab known as Al-Athar, which is also known as the Mus'ab of Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah, because the ahadith which he had recorded therein were those ahadith that he reports through Imam Abu Haneefah rahimahullah. Now, not only was Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah a muhaddith, But in fact, when Imam Ahli Sunnah, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal Rahimahullah, started out in his studies of Hadith, then the person he chose to study under was Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah. That's how highly regarded he was in the field of Hadith. When Harun al-Rashid had become the Khalifa, and he was one of the notable pious rulers, he made a strong connection with Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah on account of his knowledge. And it was on this occasion that Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah wrote that famous kitab of his known as Al-Kharaj, which dealt with the fiscal affairs of the Islamic State. And that book became the basis that the Islamic world functioned on from that point onwards. Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah reached such a high level and his verdicts were so much in demand that he wasn't just appointed as a Qadi, an Islamic judge. Rather, he became the first person to ever receive the title of Qadiul Quda, the supreme judge, or literally the judge of judges. And he became known as Qadi'u Qudati Dunya. That is his title, which no one else besides him has. Qadi'u Qudati Dunya, the judge of all judges in the world. Because his judgments were highly sought after on account of his great depth of insight and understanding of the deen. The piety of Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah is something to be admired, because it was his daily habit to perform 200 raka'at of nafil salah every single day. Many people today find 20 raka'at Tarawih Salah as being tiring. And here was Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah performing the equivalent of 10 nights worth of Tarawih Salah every single day, besides everything else that he was doing. Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah remained engrossed in the worship of Allah and in teaching and spreading the deen right up until the moment he passed away. It is recorded in the books of history that when Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah was on his deathbed, his student Imam Ibrahim ibn al-Jarrah Rahimahullah came to visit him. In this state of sakarat, this throes of death, Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah began discussing some laws of Hajj with his student. Imam Ibrahim Rahimahullah was amazed and he said to Imam Abu Yusuf, "You are teaching in this state? Meaning you are on your deathbed and yet you are teaching." But Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah said, "It's fine. Perhaps one may be saved on account of it." So after discussing the issue, Imam Ibrahim turned to leave, but he had barely reached the door when he heard the family begin to cry. And Imam Abu Yusuf Rahimahullah left this worldly life in the year 182 after Hijrah. He came from a life of poverty, but through his love for the deen of Allah, Allah raised him up to the level of being one of the most important figures in history, that up until this very day, we continue to benefit from the torrent of knowledge that poured forth from him. May Allah grant him the highest levels of Jannah and allow us to follow in his footsteps in the serving this deen of Allah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.